Not like me, but I'll be brief. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Peter Gannon, President and CEO of United Way of the Greater Capital Region, and it's my honor to welcome a leader who has never lost sight of the everyday challenges facing working families all across New York State. At a time when families are feeling the pressure of rising costs for housing, childcare, groceries, energy, auto insurance, Governor Kathy Hochul has made affordability a central focus of her administration. From expanding child care assistance and middle-class tax relief to investing in housing, workforce development, and public infrastructure, she understands that strong communities are built when families have the opportunity not just to survive, but to thrive. Here in the Capital Region, we've seen firsthand her commitment to supporting local communities, strengthening partnerships, and ensuring that economic growth reaches everyone, especially hardworking families who need it the most. So please stand and join me in welcoming a champion for New York families and the 57th governor of the great state of New York, Governor Kathy Hochul.
Thank you, everyone. Peter, it's so great to be back. I know we do toy distributions usually from this room around the holidays, so we've been here many, many times. I also want to bring up to the podium a mom from Albany County. And not talk about me. This is a mom with a 2.5-year-old and a 10-month-old who can speak to us from the heart about what the challenges are and how we're doing everything we can to help out families. So let me introduce Franceline Lewis. Come on up here, Franceline. Want to welcome our mayor, although this is your home, Mayor Dorsey Eplers. I thank you for being such a great friend of mine and also the great work you're doing here in the city of Albany. And also another mayor who spent a lot of time in Albany, so you're not running for Albany mayor, right, Steve? Okay, all right. Kingston Mayor Steve Noble. And I want to thank him especially because he has been unrelenting in driving up here and championing our seeker reforms so we could build more housing and telling his stories and talking about the importance of changing the laws on auto insurance and trying to drive down the cost for his constituents. So I want to give you a special round of applause for everything you have done as well. Blake Washington, the hero of the hour, my budget director, thank you. Thank you. He has been through a lot, and I rely on him so deeply for his wisdom, his years of experience, but just his common sense, something that we cherish here in upstate New York. And I want to thank him for often saying, what about this? A different perspective. So thank you. And again, Peter, I want to thank you and all the family at United Way for leading this organization, but also understanding that our missions are one and the same. I mean, we are focused on job training, food assistance, utility relief, and doing anything we can. So the great United Way of Greater Albany, the Capital Region, has always been on the front lines of protecting families when they need it most. So we are joined at the hip in that mission, Peter, so thank you. And 4 months ago, I made a vow in the Capitol that I would work hard, tirelessly, to tackle the high cost of utilities that are keeping New Yorkers up at night, and to do whatever we could, working with the legislature to protect these individuals, their families, from the exorbitant rate hikes that we had been experiencing, and really to demand accountability from our utility companies that sometimes overspend, and then pass those costs on to the families. And my friends, we stood up, we fought, and we won. We got it done. We got changes. In a few minutes, I'll be signing a budget that'll put more money back in your pockets, something we've been laser focused on my entire tenure as your governor, and also just puts everyday people above excessive corporate profits. Those are our priorities. That's who we're fighting for. So we have been talking about affordability. Since taking office, we've delivered over $5.5 billion in real relief to help families get ahead. That's everything from homeowner rebates to tuition assistance to paid prenatal leave. And last year alone, at this time, we were talking about how we were able to put $5,000 back in families' pockets with the lowest middle-class rate cut in 70 years, and that rate cut continues this year and on to the future. So we're continuing our tax rate cut. We also put money back in pockets by tripling the child tax credit, $1,000 for families with a child under the age of 4. That just started in your tax bill this year, so that's $1,000 back in your tax refund, as well as the inflation rebate that went to 8.2 million households, getting that check when you just thought there was no relief in sight. And we also made school meals free for every child, lifting that burden and the cost off of families. But the truth is, because of forces in Washington and what we're in for, it's not getting any easier on our families. You know, Donald Trump and his spineless enablers seem to enjoy nothing more than attack the middle class, the working class people. And who benefits? You see the tax cuts for their buddies, the mega buddies. You can build a huge garish ballroom with the money we'd like to see here. You can create a slush fund for January 6th rioters with the money. Would you rather see that here, back in the pockets where it used to be and should be? Yes, I sure would. In fact, last month, the President of the United States even admitted, I don't think much about Americans' financial situations. Well, guess who does? I do. It's top of mind for me every single day, always. Because, as I've said, your family is my fight. I've lived through this experience. It is exasperating when you're trying to get ahead and it just feels like the bills just keep piling up. And one of the great challenges I mentioned was the soaring utility costs. And the Trump administration is making it so much worse. They're waging a war on all the sources of energy. Where we have more supply, it'll drive down the cost, like offshore wind, a war on offshore wind, a war on solar energy, and also a war with Iran, which is now spiking the cost of gas at the pump beyond what anybody could have foreseen just a few months ago. It is shocking. And too many times people just dread bringing in the mail. Remember that pile that gets bigger, and all of a sudden you're looking at that get bigger at the end of the month. Time to open up the envelopes. You probably all do it online. I do both. But it's that eye-popping moment when you add it all up and say, how am I going to do this? What do I have to sacrifice? What has to give to keep the lights on? Do I have to make sacrifices? You know, keep it on a hot day in the summer, keep the air conditioning off, and the cold day in the winter, keep the temperature really lower than you want for your little kids. People shouldn't have to make these choices. They should never have to make these choices between crushing utility debt and watching their kids shiver on a cold night. And that's why this budget, long fought for, and really important to deliver on this day, is inclusive of a comprehensive energy affordability package that really puts consumers first. And starting it off, a $1 billion energy rebate for New York families. We're going to send rebate checks of up to $200 out to roughly $8.2 million, 8.2 million households this year. That's what's going to start showing up in people's mailboxes. When they start seeing those bills come in, they're going to see this relief come in as well and know that someone and people in state government actually care about them, and we worry about them as well. We're also establishing a robust ratepayer protection plan, includes sweeping reforms to make the rate-setting process fairer by demanding fiscal discipline, transparency, and accountability from utility companies. Working New Yorkers should no longer be subjected to higher rates while utility CEOs take extravagant trips or collect hefty bonuses that even make them richer. So utility relief is one way we're addressing affordability. I think it's one that's going to have a more immediate effect. That was an important priority of ours. But also, we talked about the high cost of auto insurance. When I learned that we had the highest auto insurance rates in the nation, some of the highest stage crash rates in the nation, I knew something had to be done and it could not wait any longer. So we're slamming the brakes on the fraudsters who flout the law, who are causing crashes. Really, people are doing this, intentionally causing accidents, part of a whole criminal enterprise. We get a few unscrupulous lawyers. Most are not, I'll say that. I'm a lawyer, my husband's a lawyer, my son's a lawyer. Most are not, okay? But there are people taking advantage and scamming the system. And who pays for this? We all are, with those high rates. And also the laws that we have on the books related to liability, they're just far more expansive than any other state does, and that cost is being passed on to our homeowners, our automobile owners, our businesses, our delivery businesses, and it's been too much. And so I want to make sure that we stop this, as well as we're putting a cap on the profits for the auto insurance companies, right? This is money that they're going to be saving. The whole reason we took on this fight, and it was a tough, tough fight, I'll tell you right now, taking on entrenched special interests was hard. But someone had to do it, and we did. But as a result, I'm not doing this to make the insurance executives richer. This must go back into your pockets, and that's why this is so important. We'll be the watchdog. We're going to make sure that this happens, and so we'll put a cap on profits for the auto insurance executives as well. And also, you know, as the mayors know this, we have to build more housing, and there are just too damn many barriers in place. And I know this, you've heard me say this before, I worked 14 years in local government. I knew all the ways to let a project be green lighted, and I also knew how to red light it as well. We knew all the laws in the books, and this is what has been a problem, the NIMBYism, the inability to have the ambition just to say we need to build more housing in our state because people want to live here. Young people are coming here. We are the #1 destination for college grads. New York City, New York State, the #1 destination. You're coming here. But you know when they leave? When they start looking for a home to raise a family in. And it breaks my heart that the average age now is 40 years old for first-time home buyers. It used to be 30, even lower. My parents had a little tiny trailer when they were teenagers when they were married, for God's sakes. There was always a way you could find a home. And now that dream is so far out of reach. These young people did nothing wrong. We have to stand up and build more housing so they can live the American dream as they've always thought they'd be able to do. So we're modernizing the environmental review process, which is taking so long. I want to drive down all these delays, get rid of them. And that's called the seeker reform. Complicated, but we're going to make sure that all the local policies and protections are in place. I trust my local officials to make sure that that happens. They don't need 2 extra years of review from the state of New York just to make them check boxes and add costs and delay. That's one of our problems, and we're dealing with that as well. Also, any parents in the audience? Okay. Child care, universal child care. We're going to get it done. This year's budget demonstrates our commitment. This is a signature issue for me. It's something I've been working on since I was lieutenant governor. I chaired the statewide task force on child care and the challenges of parents because I was the only person who knew what that really meant. So I'm taking that experience and focused on this intensely. So we're on a path, a rapid path to universal child care across the state because every young parent who looks at New York and says, I want to be here, they should be able to, and that's really important to me. So we'll get more details out on that, but it is happening, my friends. Working with the mayor and the city for the 2K plan, right sizing and properly adjusting the 3K program, but even upstate New York. You know, why we're behind, why we don't have universal 4-year-old programs in every community across the state. We don't, and I'm going to change that next year. We're going to be aggressive going after that. The 3-year-old program, our pilots for infants to 3-year-olds as well. So let me close with this. There's so much to talk about. Over the last few years, we've really focused with an intensity like we've never done before on these issues because it matters. I'm proud of what we've accomplished here. I'm proud of the relationship I have with our 2 leaders in the legislature, Andre Stewart-Cousins, the leader of the Senate, Carl Heastie, our speaker. We went through a lot of battles, working through a lot of challenges. But the result is an extraordinary budget that puts families, New Yorkers, first. So we are going to work on this, continue this, whether our entire affordability agenda, the energy rebate, the school meals, the lower auto insurance rates, universal child care, and even anybody who used to be a waitress or waitress now, no taxes on tips. I was a waitress. I didn't get too many tips. So. I was a good waitress. It had nothing to do with me. They just, you know, when you're buying a pizza, you just don't think to leave a tip for the person who had to clean up the mess at midnight on a school night. That's all right. I'm over it. But I do leave really good tips, okay? I do leave good tips now. But all of this adds up. It adds up to making a state that is not just desirable, but affordable. And we're not done yet, my friends. We're just getting started. And so for working families, if you could wake up in the morning and not have had that knot in your stomach or don't dread the mail coming in anymore and you don't fear logging onto your bank statement, then if we can lighten the load for all of you, then for me, that is what public service, that is what this extraordinary privilege of being your governor is all about. And I thank all of you who've been my allies in this. Thank you. Thank you. Let me introduce the individual, a representative of all the individuals that I think about when I'm trying to put together an agenda, a statement of our priorities, which is what a budget is. And I want to thank Franceline Lewis for coming here. She's a Voorheesville mom and has a story to tell about what this will mean for her family, her little children, her little kids, her babies. So, Franceline, come on up.
Hello, thank you. Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Blake, location here. So as the governor explained about this bill, what it would mean to working moms, I know they focus a lot on young moms, not necessarily young, but moms overall. This would be very beneficial in just the overall costs, with cost of diapers, childcare, which is you need a second job, a third job really to afford childcare. Overall electricity bills at the pump now. I feel like I need to get a job at the pump before I even pump. So this would be very helpful in just helping day-to-day costs, food, and the childcare universal pre-K program would be very wonderful. I see Bridget here, I don't see Miss Jerry, but this program has been very helpful in helping me navigate childcare. This is something that is very crucial for working moms, which working moms don't qualify for different programs like the childcare programs or SNAPs or any of those programs. So we're really the working poor. So this program will help to provide, whether as little or whatever it is, because every bit counts, in helping to navigate momhood and providing best care for our children. So definitely I would like to thank Governor Hochul. It takes a woman, you educate a woman, you educate a family. So maybe Hochul. I may be a little bit ahead of myself, maybe President?
No. I'm good.
But it takes a woman to see the needs. Not that men are important, you guys are important, but it takes a woman to see, right, to see things a certain way. See, I knew you would understand. To see things a certain way. So I'd like to thank the governor and this program for giving me the opportunity to speak on behalf of the working moms, and that's it, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Please remain seated as the governor signs the bills.
All right, the bill is signed.